this video, we're going to determine whether certain statements are true or false. Let's start with the first one. A pet grasshopper jumped 6% higher than his old jump record. His new record is 106% of his old record. All right, well, let's look at his old record. We don't know what the distance is, but let's assume that it's represented by this line in between these two x's. In other words, his old record is from here to here. That represents 100% of his original record. And no, we don't know what that distance is, and really it doesn't matter. Let's go back to the words for a moment. It says that a pet grasshopper jumped 6% higher than his old jump record. That means he jumped 6% more than his old record, which would mean if this was his original record, he jumped 6% more than that. I'm going to represent that additional 6% by a line about yay long. So this is the additional 6%. In black, we have the original 100%, and I'll write that one below here. So it's this 100% plus that 6% means that the total of the new jump record, or the new record distance, I suppose, so I'm writing, will in fact equal 106%. Therefore, that statement is true. Let's read the second statement. In this statement, an ant weighs 3 milligrams. The ant picks up a 30 milligram leaf. The ant is carrying 110% of its weight. All right, in order to figure out if the ant is carrying 110% of its weight, we should probably figure out what 100% of its weight is. And we're told that in this problem. We're told that an ant weighs 3 milligrams. So the weight of the ant, 100% of the ant's weight, equals 3 milligrams. All right, and we're asked, or pardon me, we're told that the ant picks up a 30 milligram leaf, and the statement says that the ant is carrying 110% of its weight. Well, if its weight is 3 milligrams, it would be carrying all of that 3 milligrams, that would be 100%, plus 10% more of this. But what the ant is carrying is 30 milligrams. So if the ant is carrying 30 milligrams, 30 milligrams is 10 times, I'm going to multiply by 10 here, 30 milligrams is 10 times larger than 3 milligrams. And if 100% equals 3 milligrams, and now I'm up at 30 milligrams, I got from 3 milligrams to 30 milligrams by multiplying by 10, because 30 is 10 times larger than 3. Well, if I multiplied the 3 milligrams by 10, I'd also multiply this 100% by 10. And that would mean that I would have 1,000% of the ant's weight would equal 30 milligrams. So the statement is in fact false. If I found 10% of 3 milligrams, in other words, if I took 3 and I multiplied it, I converted 10%, so 10% of 3 equals 3 multiplied by 0.1, converting the percent to a decimal, I would find out that that equals 0.3. And in fact, 110% of 3 milligrams equals 3.3 milligrams. So the statement is false because 30 milligrams would be 1,000% of the ant's weight. The correct answer, 110% of 3 milligrams, is 3.3 milligrams. In our last example, we were told that the wingspan of a monarch butterfly is 2.5% greater than the wingspan of a queen butterfly. The monarch's wingspan is 125% of the queen's wingspan. All right, well, let's look at this diagram. If this line segment represents the 100% of the queen's wingspan, and we're told that the monarch butterfly is 2.5% greater than the wingspan of the queen. In other words, the monarch has a wingspan that's 2.5% greater than the queen's, then I'm going to represent that by that. I need I need the entire length of that queen's wingspan, which is 100%. That's all of the queen's wingspan. And then once again, I'm told that the monarch is 2.5% more than that. I'm going to represent that in red. It's going to give me an additional 2.5%. In other words, this statement is false. The monarch's wingspan is represented by the whole length of the queen's wingspan plus, as we were told, 2.5 additional percent. Therefore, the monarch's wingspan is 102.5% of the queen's. The statement was false.